wait a minute, what's going on here? She just fell. And I just, I sat her down and gave her some water or something, and she was okay.
We've never really had any problem with people on the set having compunctions about the gore. We never have any problems recruiting zombies. Everyone wants to be a zombie, and not only do they want to be a zombie, but they want to be a zombie that has a horrible wound or a zombie that gets to eat.
They want to get in the front line and get close to the camera if they're eating something. Especially when they know what it is. Like, we also had these long homemade sausage things that looked like these intestines. I mean, some of the actors were actually chewing on, bones and things from slaughterhouses, been sitting around for a long time. But mostly it was turkey, chicken, bologna, ham, hot dogs that we decorated with this barbecue sauce that looked a lot like blood. Mainly that, or they would be chewing on just pieces of rubber, like, what do we have here? Here's a latex lower intestine here. There's chunks of flesh. Now, chunks of flesh was something that we would just whip together, and whenever we needed it, we would stick it in something so that when a piece of a person came off or a head was torn off, see, this stuff just stretches nice. I mean, it's pretty sick, I know, but
still has motor function.
To prove a point in the movie that a zombie, even just with the brain intact, would still function. I mean, this was attached to a guy to look like, everything was scraped and cut away from him, leaving the brain intact. And the brain was stuck in here with all these electrodes sticking out of it. So this guy's strapped to a table, but he's moving around. His arms are flying about. He's jumping around, quivering, and this is all that's left of him. I mean, this isn't something we have in our heads. We don't know right away where we look, so we have to go through, use one of our books, like Head and Neck Anatomy. This is gross stuff, folks. I want it to be realistic as hell. I mean, we could just throw some clumpy latex in there and splattered some blood around it. It would look okay, but there's something about, seeing something that we don't know about, and when we see it, we go, oh, yeah, oh, God, yeah, ooh, that must be how it is. Nothing moves and slithers and falls and has the weight and the sliminess of the real thing. For the Autopsy Zombie, we would glue this inside, tear a piece of this off, and then wrap the real intestines around this, so that when he moved, the real intestines would slide off this, and then this would be left dangling, outside of the body.
And sometimes it is hideous. I mean, sometimes those prosthetics are so seamless that... and you can't take it off right away. Maybe you need 3 or 4 takes and they have to sit around with it. And just wearing the makeups themselves has got to be an unpleasant way to spend the afternoon. The stuff that Tom does generally is very predictable. He's able to say, okay, here's the piece and here's how it works, and this part of you is going to come off, and you'll feel blood, and your eye socket will fill up with warm fluid. Don't try not to worry about it.
In Day of the Dead, there's this shovel scene where a zombie is actually top of his head sliced off with a shovel. Again, we were sitting around thinking of ways to kill.
When I was down here writing Day of the Dead, he called me up one day and said, I think I can do this shovel gag. We've been talking about it up here. Can you use a shovel gag somewhere? So I wrote in a shovel gag.
I put a blood tubing all the way through the handle of the shovel and had it come out on the back end of the shovel that you were not going to see. And we cut strategic holes in the tubing so it would spray blood against John's face, and the shovel was on him. Then we cut to the actor holding the shovel, okay, if I'm remembering correctly in the storyboards. And he would make a grinding movement and then a down movement. Then we cut to the foam dummy that we built of John that would separate right here. And like a bowling ball, I would throw this other foam head, a duplicate of John.
Rolling. Great. Kick up a stone.
Oh!
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, it became a contest on the set. People were giving me scores, 9.4.
Right. Oh, that's a strike.
I mean, when is the last time you saw somebody's head lopped off with a shovel, and it's still alive, and it's looking back and forth, and the blood is, it's a living. What happened? Every death was different. Every guy that got rubbed out, leading right up to roads, yeah.
Exactly.
What happened, Tasso, was that we would sit around and have a little conference and say, well, how are we going to kill Tasso? Well, listen, Tasso's our friend. Let's tear his head off. Let's make it a spectacular death so we can go around saying, I'm the guy that got my head ripped off. Sometimes an effect will pop up that involves testing, okay? And I hate to put makeup on myself. I have nightmares. My nightmares are having glue in my armpits behind my knees, you know, just something where the skin, you know. It's just, I hate the feeling, you know. It's a real insecurity thing. So, I'll get an assistant and put glue on him or do a test on him. My assistant, Greg Nicotero, who's been with me for the last couple of films, poor guy, he'll be sitting minding his own business. Oh, Greg, I'm going to test this bullet hit in the head effect, okay?
In the original script, I had no dialogue or anything. I was just a soldier who got killed, and later on, my head comes back to life.
Just 5 minutes.
I remember walking into the shop and seeing my bald head there and Tom putting a beard on it to make it look like me. And then he put the wig on it, and the more and more it resembled me, it got to be really scary. The day that they shot it, just so happened that was the day that Salah Hassanine came down to visit the set one day. And he stopped me and he was like, that was your head right there. My God, he couldn't believe it. Tom has got me into the mood of playing practical jokes. So I said, let me take the head home. I said, I want to play a joke with my family. So I took it home and nobody knew, and I snuck him with his head under my shoulder and went into my room and I put it on my bed. And I pulled all the cables behind the bed and I'm laying behind the bed operating the head. I said, hey, Mom, come here a minute. So she comes walking in, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Ah, she screams, she's like, and then she shook her head. She said, Thanksgiving Day. She wouldn't even speak to me the rest of the day. She's like, look what Savini did to you. I mean, you used to be a nice person. Now you bring these heads home.
I've had reviews on Day of the Dead that I have one review in there that doesn't even review the film. It just says that it should be taken out and burned on a pyre, and that maybe after time has passed, that people will forget the putrid glow that it put off while it was burning. Some people really do feel that way about it. On the other hand, there are people that revel in it. That's what Tom and I share. We will both go and sit and watch the film when it's finished. We'll sit at Daly's and look at each other and giggle. I mean, we're having a good time. And I think that probably is what we do share in common, and that's why it's easy to keep that comic book texture on the surface.
Now we have Joe Pilato coming. Now how are we going to... He's Rhodes. He's the main bad guy.
I've seen 1,000 of them. He's going to die.
We want his death to be glorious, so let's tear him in half. You know, let's have the zombies, just tear him in half. And have him still be alive to see it happen, to suffer more. So we knew that when Joe Pilato arrived, that we were going to cast his body, his whole body, and wind up with a fake body of him that we can attach him to by putting him underground and attach the fake body to him, you know, and have him, his real arms, his real face, attached to a body that we're going to do nasty stuff to. So that's what we did. And then we filled it with guts.
Of course, Tom's philosophy is you can't get any better than the real stuff. I mean, if you have the real stuff, you're going to convince the audience that it's real. So one of my jobs was to call Packing House and excuse me, do you sell intestines? And they'd be like, huh? What? What are you talking about? So finally, I called around, and finally I found a place that sold pig intestines.
Unfortunately, in his case, those guts were part of a 5-gallon drum of guts that we had from the beginning of the movie that we used over and over again and put them back in the refrigerator.
We had a week or so off over Christmas. We came back. Tom and I went out to the mine one day, and somebody had accidentally unplugged the refrigerator with the guts in it, which was in our shop. We walk into the shop, it's like...
The stench was incredible, but we had to do the effect, so we didn't have time to go out and get new stuff.
So I ended up being the person that would come trotting on set with my little pail of intestines. Everybody knew there's something coming to clear out of the way.
Greg became Gut Boy, okay? Anytime there was guts, Greg would put the respirator on, do the whole paper suit number, and put the gloves on, and he would handle all the guts. As we were loading them, you know, we put aftershave, I think it was canoe or something, on Joe's upper lip, you know, and on top of a respirator, you know, so he could be breathing that while we were stuffing the thing with guts.
They bring in a bag full of entrails the way someone else might bring in their briefcase with, you know, pads and pencils.
And then when they tore him open, here's all these zombies with their makeup on who weren't protected by respirators. Tasso, who was one of the guys I trusted to be a zombie in the foreground, playing with the guts, he had his nose stuffed with cotton.
I take the wax earplugs that people use for gunshots and I stuff them up my nose.